Now here is a circular water tank, and one thing you might be thinking of is how do I go about putting the circumferential rebars around such objects? There would be some over here, there would be some over here, and all the way down into the slab. So to do that, what we can do is we can use our, once again, we had the segment reinforcement which went linearly, but then we also have a segment reinforcement which goes in a radial way or in a circumferential way. So if we do that, it asks me to select a segment. I can select this segment, I can select this segment or whatever segment of that bar. So let me select this one, and then it asks me for a start point for the rotation axis. So this point needs to be basically the middle of this cylinder, let's call it. So let's select this point, and I need a vertical point above that. So I'm just going to hover over that and say DZ 1000. I don't need to create the points. And when I do that, as you can see on the screen, immediately, immediately what happens is that my rebars are created outside of that segment. That could be the default. I can reverse the direction to take it inside the segment now. And then what I can do is, instead of a count of 5, I could give them a spacing of 200. So now my bars are spaced at 200. Now, as you can see, they're going all around the tank. Just inside, I can give this another offset, so I can double click on that and give it a start offset of say 20 millimeters and a end offset of 20 millimeters. What that will do is that since we selected this segment, it's going to give it an offset of 20 millimeters from the start of the offset. Let's give it a bigger one to make it more clear. Let's make it 200 and 200 so that it's a lot clearer. So from the start of the segment, 200 down, and from the end of the segment over here, it's 200 up. And we have our circumferential bars. But we're not going to in real life, we don't put bars going all around. What we do is we start off from a certain angle, and we'll go 12 meters, and then we'll have a splice. So what we have, the option we have over here is I can just double click on that, and I can, for the start offset and the end offset, I can say start from an angle of 0, but end at an arc length of 12 meters. So I can have start from an angle of 0 and end at an angle of, say, angle of 45 degrees. If I do that, then it's going to start at an angle of 0 and end at 45 degrees. But if you notice over here, every bar is of a different length. These bars, since they're at at the top and the radius is smaller, so their length will be shorter. And since at this point the radius from the center gets much bigger, so their length will, so all of these bars will have a different part position or some variable length, and we might not want that. We might want them all to be the same length. So what we can do is, instead of using the angle option, we can use the arc length option. And when we do that, then we are telling it to put a bar of 12 meters starting from angle 0. Now all these bars will end at different points, but they'll all be of a length of 12 meters. And then you can repeatedly use the same command to start from 0, 12 meters, and then the next bar you can put is start from 12 rather than 12 meters, maybe 11 meters, so it starts 1 meter short of that. So there's a splice, and start at 11 meters and end at say 23 meters from the 0 angle. So you can go all around and come back to the start and very easily create your spliced rebars in this manner. Now let's repeat the same command which we did for this inclined segment for this vertical segment over here. And all we need to do, like I said, is select the segment, and then it asks us for that center of the cylinder, and I can just select that point and press enter and say DZ 1000. And when I do that, immediately you can see that my circumferential bars for this side segment have been created, and this time they're different. I have used the same from angle 0 12 meters, but since this segment is vertical, they all end at the same point, because all along the segment the radius from the center is the same. Then I can continue using it on this segment, and I can even use it on the bottom segment, which is basically the closed slab, and what you will get is the circumferential rebars on the slab. So by this simple command of circumferential rebars, I can quickly model the rebars in this tank. I mean, you can probably believe now that it is doable in a couple of hours maximum. So now, coming back to the original point, which we have discussed so many times, the purpose of this webinar for me is to relieve your fears of 3D modeling of rebars, to ingrain in your minds that it's not difficult, it's not time consuming, even without macros. Even if you don't have, I'm going to show you the macros in a second. I know you all want me to get to that point as well. But believe me, when you're dealing with prestigious projects, when you're dealing with high-end projects, and I'm sure many of you are, you will be doing manual detailing as well, because all those twisted and curved and ridiculous shapes which you will come up with, or those strange looking geometries which the architects will present to you, they will not have macros necessarily to get you through them. But what I've tried to show you today is that even without macros, you can do the job pretty easily.